In ancient Greece, there was a place where no warrior returned, because one glance could turn a man into stone. The creature responsible was feared across the world, and one hero was sent to face her. Her name was Medusa. Deep within the cliffs of ancient Greece, a terrible curse had taken root. Warriors came seeking glory, hoping to defeat the monster within. But their final moments were captured forever in stone, frozen forever in fear. For in the darkness of that cave, something still waited, and the few who crossed its path barely escaped with their lives. Those survivors carried the tale beyond the cliffs. Before long, whispers of the Gorgon spread across the land. The king demanded the monster be destroyed, and so the warriors of Greece were summoned. Yet when the time came, none dared face the Gorgon. Then, from among the gathered warriors, one man stepped forward, a young warrior willing to challenge the curse. His name was Perseus. Long before the legend of the Gorgon, there lived a young woman named Medusa. Once, she was a devoted priestess, serving in the temple of Athena. And across the land, Medusa became known for her extraordinary beauty. She lived within the sacred temple of Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. One day, the sea god Poseidon entered Athena's sacred temple, and within those sacred halls, he violated the priestess Medusa. When Athena discovered what had been done within her sacred temple, her fury was terrible. In her rage, Athena placed a terrible curse upon Medusa. Her beauty was stripped away, replaced by a curse of serpents. And when Medusa saw what she had become, despair filled her heart. Cast out and feared, Medusa was forced to leave the world of men. Alone and feared by all, Medusa sought refuge in a lonely cave. But before long, travelers began to wander into her cursed domain, and the first man who gazed upon her was turned to stone. And so the legend of the Gorgon was born. So the task of facing the Gorgon fell to one man. And from among the warriors, Perseus stepped forward. But Perseus would not face the Gorgon alone, for the gods themselves would guide him. And the messenger god Hermes came as well, bringing gifts to aid the hero. The gods placed sacred tools in Perseus's hands, gifts that would guide him through the impossible. And with the blessings of the gods, Perseus set out on his quest. Across wild lands and distant mountains, the hero journeyed toward the Gorgon's domain. At last, Perseus reached the cursed land where the Gorgon dwelled. All around him stood the silent victims of the Gorgon. Guided by Athena's wisdom, Perseus would face the monster without ever meeting her gaze. At last, the hero stood before the lair of the Gorgon, and in the darkness of the cave, the Gorgon waited. Into the darkness of the cavern, the hero stepped alone. All around him, the silent victims of the Gorgon stood frozen in stone. And there, among the stone victims of the cave, the three Gorgon sisters slept. Among the sleeping Gorgons lay Medusa, the only mortal sister. Guided only by the reflection of Athena's shield, Perseus prepared to strike. And in a single swift strike, the hero brought down his blade. And so, the mortal Gorgon fell. And from the fallen Gorgon, a miracle was born. But the death of Medusa did not go unnoticed. The immortal sisters awoke, and their fury filled the cavern. With the head of Medusa in his grasp, Perseus fled the cavern. And in time, the head of Medusa was given to Athena. And from that day on, the head of Medusa rested upon Athena's shield. And so the power of Medusa lived on, carried forever upon Athena's shield, the Aegis.